Hey everyone, so many of you have been waiting for an update on my 1997 Ford Probe GT, and here it is. And as you can tell from the intro, it's not very good. It's not a good update. It's quite bad. So bad, in fact, that I haven't even wanted to make a video with this car for the last 6 months. Yep, that bad. Let's start with the good news. The good news is that I haven't pushed this car off a cliff. Yeah, that's about the extent of the good news. I mean, I guess it's good news that it actually still runs. Bad news is that after putting a ton of effort and work into this car, it still decided that it wanted to explode. Well, it didn't exactly explode, but yeah, it does not sound good at all. It sounds terrible, like some significant metal on metal action, even after changing the oil. So, as you might remember, last year I bought this car for $300 sight unseen at an online auction. When I got it, it was overheating. It was pissing coolant out of the water pump. I replaced the water pump, the thermostat, hoses, timing belt, valve cover gaskets, the intake, spark plug wires, and even a bunch of bad solenoids. After all that work, I had the car running beautifully, so I thought it was time to take it for a little canyon drive. The goal was to finally see what this thing was capable of on a canyon road. So let's go back in time a little bit to see how that day went. Good morning. It's super early. I don't know why I'm up this early. I never get up this early. Still kind of dark out. The neighbor's rooster thinks it's time to wake up, but not me. You might have seen the last video of this car where I actually got the thing to stop overheating. And today I'm really gonna put this car to the test. Me and a bunch of friends are going on a canyon drive today, probably about 100 miles through windy back roads, maybe 2 to 3 hours of driving. Can my old $300 bought from an auction Ford Probe GT handle the pressure? Today we will find out. Let's hope that I make it the whole way and I don't get stranded on the side of the road. All right, we're here. We have a very wide array of vehicles. We've got a 96 Corvette, a brand new Supra, a Fiat 500 Abarth, my Ford Probe right here, E30, Honda Fit Sport. Let's just hope that we can all stick together with these wildly different horsepower ranges. And let's hope that my Probe doesn't get left in the dust. All right, we're off. Let's see if my car falls apart. Freezing up here. The old Probe seems to be doing well so far. It's actually really fun to drive on these back roads. Alright, so it's done it again. It's overheating. Let's see if I can make it back down the hill. Well, it made it all the way up here at least. Got to see some snow. I gotta give the Ford credit to make it this far, but we still have some work to do. So now it's back to normal, which is so weird. I don't get it. Alright, so I'm heading back down the hill. Temperature is just bouncing all over the place. I can't quite figure out what's going on. It's hot, it's cold, it's hot, it's cold. Make up your mind, will ya? There's a lot of cliffs around here, and I do kind of want to push this car off of one of them. Sad news, folks. I think it's a bad head gasket.
6 months later.
So there you have it. Driving up that mountain, everything seemed totally fine. I was incredibly impressed with how well this car kept up with some pretty quick vehicles and how well it handled on those back roads. And the sound of this motor is just so great. I mean, the sound of this motor was just so great. Kind of out of the blue, the thing just started overheating. And of course, there was no cell service way up there, and it was way too cold to wait for a tow truck. So I thought the best option was just to coast down the hill and see if I can get the car to cool down as much as I could. And the temperature gauge never went all the way to hot. It would kind of bounce up and down. It would show close to H for a little bit, and then it would quickly bounce back down to normal operating temps. So on the way home, it was showing mostly normal or just a touch over normal. The coolant stopped dripping out of the overflow, so I figured maybe we finally got the thing to cool back down. So I get all the way back to my neighborhood, and just as I was pulling down my street, that temperature gauge shot all the way up to H, and it started running really, really rough. It sounded awful. As you heard at the beginning of this video, it's ticking, it sounds awful. And at that point, I was pretty sure that I had damaged the engine. Actually, I was positive that I damaged the engine. These engines with their aluminum heads are super susceptible to damage when they overheat. And yeah, that's pretty much what I did. Never said I was smart. You don't watch this channel because I'm smart, do you? After spending so much time and effort and energy on this vehicle, only to pretty much ruin it, I just parked the car and let it sit for 6 months because I didn't even want to deal with it. Just tired of working on it. So yeah, I really haven't done anything with this car in 6 months other than wash the leaves off of it every few weeks. I haven't even taken anything apart yet, so I'm not exactly even sure what went wrong, but here's my hypothesis. With that temp gauge bouncing up and down and not giving me a steady reading, I think coolant was finding a way to escape. I'm guessing maybe it found its way to a small leak in the head gasket. And possibly because it was a slow enough leak, I was just sending water out the tailpipe and I didn't even notice it, which is weird because I didn't see any white smoke. I didn't smell coolant. So that's just a guess. Maybe that's what happened here. I don't really know. You know, because there's no oil in my coolant, there's no coolant in my oil. It's not what you would normally think of as a head gasket failure, but I guess there's multiple ways a head gasket can fail. So when I got home after the car cooled down, I opened up the radiator caps on this thing, and yeah, there was not really much coolant left at all. Even though for most of the time my temperature gauge was reading normal. The only other thing I can think of is maybe my temperature gauge was messed up. So as a terrible mechanic, I'm not exactly sure how to determine what went wrong. Pretty much every cooling system part was replaced apart from the radiator. Let me know if you have any suggestions to really figure out what happened. And I suppose I should do a compression test to see how bad I messed this thing up. And maybe try to figure out what that awful clattering sound is. Given how bad it sounds, do you think this engine can even be saved? At this point, it's probably cheaper to just find another engine to put in this thing. The story of this car is a series of many ups and downs. Many ups and downs. Peaks and valleys. A sine wave of emotions. Yeah. Some days I just love this thing. It's so much fun to drive. It's great on a canyon road. And then other days I just want to put a bunch of dynamite in here and blow the thing up. But turns out I did kind of blow it up. Just not that way. Oh, great. So, what do you think the plan should be for this car? I actually already have one guy that offered me $1,500 for this thing as it sits. He was just walking by and saw a purple Ford Probe and he really wanted it and offered me some money. But I've put so much time and energy into this thing, I don't know, it pains me to just give up. But you know, I have way too many other projects going on. I don't know. So I'll leave it up to you, Hello Road viewers. What do you think I should do? Sell it to another Ford Probe fanatic and make this thing their problem? Or rip out that broken engine and drop in a higher power KLZE engine? It's not every day that you see a purple Ford Probe, and I certainly don't want to be sending this thing to the junkyard. They're just too rare now. And I pretty much saved this thing from the crusher to begin with. But man, these things, they're not easy to work on. And yeah, as you know from previous videos, I don't have good car karma. I'm also an idiot, that probably doesn't help, but I do think I just generally tend to have bad luck with cars, which kind of makes you wonder why I have a whole YouTube channel devoted to vehicles. So there you have it. I saved this $300 Ford Probe GT from the junkyard, dumped a bunch of parts into it, enjoyed it for a few months, and then proceeded to blow the thing up. I'm really smart. So that's it for today. More videos of my collection of stupid old cars coming soon. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're well, and I'll see you soon.